Hey guys, Mr. Bowman here. Today's learning objective is in blue and we are learning to form algebraic expressions. So this video is the first video that directly relates to algebra, and it's going to be a really important one that sets the tone for the topic to make sure we've got our basics sorted. So the first thing I want to note, and I really want to emphasize, so I'm writing a whole bunch of numbers on the board: 7, 3, -1. They can even be fractions, 10 over 11. They can be negative fractions, 7 over 3, negative of that. So all of these are numbers, and for each of these numbers, we can add 2, we can multiply it by 3, we can divide it by 4, we can divide it by 4 and then add 1, we can times 10 divided by 3 minus 1 plus 1. All of these numbers, we can do any of the operations that we want to. And the thing I want to emphasize is x, y, z, or any other letter that we use in algebra. These are all numbers as well. So these are numbers. The only thing is we have no idea what that number is. So we're not sure what that x represents in terms of a number. But we know that they are numbers and we can do the same thing as well. So just as some examples, so let's say you've got 7 apples and you take 2 away, you're left with 5 apples. We can calculate exactly how many apples there are after we take away the 2. And in terms of algebra, let's say you don't have 7, let's say you've now got X amount of apples and you lose 2 of them. So I'm going to put a question mark, that equals a question mark. We don't exactly know how many apples we have, but we do have an algebraic expression. We do know you've got x minus 2 amount of apples, and as soon as you figure out what x is, you'll be able to find out the amount of apples that you actually have. And that there is the algebraic expression that we're trying to learn how to form. We can then do the same with addition as well. So let's say you've got maybe $2, you're given an extra 50 cents. Combined, you would have $2.50. But let's say you don't know how much money you have to start off with. So let's write M for money. You're given $0.5, so we can add that on. We don't know how much money we have, but we've got an algebraic expression that can be used to help us figure out that later on. So we've got a bit of algebra that shows us how much money we have. So that was addition and subtraction. We can multiply and divide with it as well. So let's say maybe you've got, we'll stick with money. Let's say you've got $7. Your mum offers to double that for you. That's going to get you to $14. So we've times that by 2. But this time around, let's say you've got maybe D for the amount of money you have. So D for dollars. Your mum is offered to double that. We don't know how much money we have, but D times 2, we've got an expression for how much algebra we have. And I just want to note, when we're dealing with division, when we're dealing with multiplication, we simplify that. We put the 2 up front, and we have the variable afterwards. So we lose the minus sign, and we put them like that once we simplify. And I guess finally, we're allowed to do the same with division as well. So let's say you've got maybe 15 Pokemon cards. You have to share them with your other siblings. Maybe you've got yourself, your younger brother, and your younger sister. So there's 3 of you. When you divide that by 3, you'll get 5 Pokemon cards each. We can form the same expression. So let's say we've got P for Pokemon cards. You don't know how many you've got, but you've been asked to share them by 3. That tells you how much each person gets. Whilst we don't know how much Pokemon cards each person is going to get specifically, we do have an expression that shows us what that can be. And the last step I want to do, well, we've done, 1 addition, 1 plus, 1 minus, 1 divide. We've done 1 of each. What you can do is you can have heaps in the same thing. So let's say you've got 3 Pokemon cards and you're given 2 extra. And once you've got those, your mum's going to double it for you. That's going to leave 10 Pokemon cards. We'll call them 10 PCs. Let's say that 3, well, you don't know how much you have to start off with, so we'll call that X. That's doubled, plus 2. and we've then multiplied that by 2. And just to note, that times 2, we're going to move that, we're going to put that out front. Whilst we don't know how many Pokemon cards we have, we do have our algebraic expression, which tells us how many of them. So we can also square our numbers. So if you've been asked to square them, or a number times a number, x squared, we can square root numbers as well. So there's the square root of y. We can do anything that we need to as well. So hopefully you found this video introducing and explaining how to form algebraic expressions useful. The key thing I want to emphasize, x's, y's, z's, whatever letter you use with your algebra, those are numbers too. And just like numbers, we can add to it, we can take away from it, we can divide with it, we can multiply with it. We can even put brackets and squares and square roots. We can do anything we can to a normal number, form our algebraic expression. Thanks for watching, guys. Now let's get into heaps of practice.